everyone, and welcome to the Inspiring Moms Spotlight. I am your hostess, Mara Watts, and joining me is the amazing Melissa Schaffner. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me.
So I am so glad that you're here because you have such an amazing story around your childhood and moving through, deciding what to do with your life. And then when it was like you decided what you wanted to do with your life, there were these road bumps. And I don't want to give away anything, that has to do with your story. I want you to share. I want you to share a little bit about you and your journey through life and through becoming a mom. Well, take it away.
That's such a big topic.
No.
First of all, thank you so much for having me today. What we'll start is my name is Melissa del Toro Schaffner. I am the daughter, one of three sisters in a strong family values Puerto Rican family. So I know I don't really look Puerto Rican, but in some ways I do, some ways I don't, depending on the way you look at me. But I'm 100% Puerto Rican, and I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in a Jewish neighborhood. So for most of my life, I thought I was, like little Jewish girl. Like what did I know about being Hispanic? What did I know about being a minority? I just felt like all my friends were all the same. So it was kind of a wake-up call, I guess, in college, whenever I found out that I was different. Kind of weird. But so growing up, my primary role models were my parents, and my mother was a teacher and my father was an electrical engineer. So although I was never really good at math, like I sucked, like I was majorly bad at math, but I decided I didn't want to, I wanted to have money. In other words, I wanted to grow up and I wanted to make a lot of money because what I primarily wanted out of life was freedom. I wanted freedom. I wanted independence. And so I thought, a career in engineering would give me the best chance of being a free, independent adult. So that's what I did. And even though I sucked at math, I put my mind to it. I kind of decided that math was just like Russian or Spanish or any other language I'd had exposure, that it was just a way to express yourself in numbers rather than in language. So once I kind of put that in my head that, I can do this, by the skin of my teeth, I graduated as an electrical engineer from Penn State.
Wow.
So that's the beginning of the story, and I feel like sort of a talking head, but that's kind of what this medium is. It's like we're talking at you, and then people will comment.
Yeah, and you had mentioned in your bio that during your experience of, going through college and working and learning in a primarily male-dominated expertise, I guess is what we could call it, how you rose up in that, as a female, as a minority, as someone who rose up above that perception they had of you. Either they're going to fall in love with you or they thought you were not as smart as them because I don't know, because maybe you were female, maybe, I don't know what that was. Can you speak to that and what that experience was like?
Absolutely. It was really challenging because I guess when you get to college, the prevailing feeling is like you don't know what you don't know. So it's not like you can even ask questions about what you don't know because you don't even know to ask the questions. So for me, I got into college on a full ride from AT&T, like 4 years paid education, any school in the country. Like
Wow.
It was a legit academic scholarship. And the first year of college, I lost the scholarship. So it was probably the worst time of my life. And the reason why was I was taking all these hard credits that I didn't know anything about college or what it would require or what I didn't know about. So I think that was the first big hurdle to jump, is like, do I throw myself from this window or do I keep going?
Right.
As a freshman, when I lost that scholarship, and being that I'm from a family that really values achievement, I felt like my life was over, and that was really, really hard because I was defining myself by what I thought everybody else wanted from me. That being said, I was able to piece together the rest of my college education finances with loans and with my mother. Basically, my mother cashed in every bond she had from being a teacher.
Wow.
And put me through.
Hey, hashtag mom life, right?
She gets very vocal as well when she starts to get tired.
Aw, yeah.
Um, so anyway, pieced together the rest of my college education and actually
I love that.
found out what it is that I needed help with, and finally graduated in that field and went to work in it. So that was a huge accomplishment, because as a person who was very, I guess, self-conscious about being smart or being dumb, especially as a female, like when you go through college and nobody wants to tutor you because they're afraid that you're going to fall in love with them, or people are going to perceive that you're dating, and you're like, I just need help with math.
Right.
Like,
help me get through this. I don't want to date you.
I don't want to kiss you. I just want to learn how to do this differential equation. You know what I mean? And, so that was kind of a challenge, but I did have a couple people, men in college, who helped me go through. And if it wasn't for those men that helped me go through, I think it would have been a much more difficult road. So that being said, sort of fast forward, I worked in the construction industry for 20 years of my life. And that all started in Seattle, Washington. I worked on airport projects, wastewater treatment plant projects, all different kinds of engineering projects. I got into engineering pretty closely to right away when I got out of college. And I also got my MBA while I was in Seattle for 10 years.
Oh,
so
wow.
I lived in Pittsburgh, drove to Seattle in 2 days because I thought at 24 years old that was possible. Like, no, wait, it was 3 days. No, it was 3 days. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
I have no idea why I didn't think about flat tires or like
breaking down.
Anything. We could have hit a deer. Like, there was no time, because my friend who was driving with me had a ticket to go back to her work on Monday. So we left on Thursday. We have 3 days to drive across the country before she has to catch a plane. Like, literally, I don't know. Cockamamie. Like, my mother was like, I love mothers, because she was like, well, this is dumb, but
go for it.
But we did it. Yeah.
Life lessons, right?
Exactly. So we did it. It was great. I got to Seattle. Everything was perfect. Very little snags. And then, the course of living there, went through a very toxic relationship. My personal life wasn't shaping up the way that I had hoped. And I think anybody listening from Seattle would agree that the young men in Seattle, it's like, unless you've known them most of your life, it's a very difficult place to start a new relationship if you're from out of town. They call it the Seattle freeze. So anybody listening that knows the Seattle freeze is going to be like, amen.
I get that.
So, anyways, so let's see. So I went out there, did some engineering. I worked at Seattle Pacific University, which is my MBA alma mater. And after 10 years, I was like, it's a nice, symmetrical, amount of time to say, I did this. I'm over it.
Right. Time to move on. Time to do something new.
I need some sunshine. So I moved to Austin, Texas. Unbeknownst to me is where I would meet the love of my life. But at the time, I was 30, maybe 34 years old, with no prospects. I was on Match.com. It was a complete nightmare. I met everybody from, the small-handed doctor to like this crazy guy who said he was a fireman, but he really was like in IT. It was just the gambit. Oh, no. Horrible. Like, I dated this guy who took me out for my birthday, and I was in love with him. And he told me that I was too old for him, like, because he was like a few years younger than me. And I was on my birthday. I'm like, what? I'm literally getting older, like right now. And you're
it's like, there's a gray hair.
I'm not good enough for you at my birthday dinner, that I'm too old. So that night I threatened to ram my car into a wall. He thought I was a crazy person. We broke up.
Well, it sounds like that was for the best, right?
So much for the best. And so then I kind of hit a point when I was living in Austin. I was doing really well with, work and everything. I kind of hit a point where I was like, you know what? If I can't be happy right now, when do I get to be happy? Like, when when am I allowed to be happy? Because if I never find this person, I'm going to be a wreck because I'm so lonely. I hate going to sleep alone at night. I hate not having somebody to cuddle with. I hate coming home from work and not having anybody give me a hug, you know, like the proverbial Catwoman when she was like, honey, I'm home. Oh, I'm not married. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, I'll pet my cats, I guess.
I mean, like, not that cats are bad, but cats are not people. And
right.
and a lot of people, I think, substitute pets for human love right now because human love is messy and complicated and unpredictable. So, you know, I was like, okay, well, I guess if I can't meet anybody and I'm not gonna meet anybody and all of this is gonna go to waste.
That's right. Somebody come and whisk me off my feet.
Exactly. So I say I might as well make the best of it. So
right.
during that time I went to Europe by myself. I traveled all over the place by myself. I went to Spain, I went to Scotland, I went to the Canary Islands, I went to just everywhere that I could. I lived in London for a month with my sister. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna have my life and it's gonna be amazing. I went dog sledding in Alaska. I swam with, you know, dolphins, everything on my bucket list. I was just going, you know, I said, if I'm going to be alone, then I'm going to get some shit done. So,
seriously. Good. Check it all off while you can.
I'm not waiting for a travel partner. I am gone. So
good for you.
And the nice thing about traveling as a solo woman is that a lot of people want to help and protect you. So I had a really good experience traveling abroad alone. And then I started to open up my mind about, you know, my personal life. Like, I've been throwing out a lot of really nice, good men because they were nice and good. And I was used to being like basically abused.
Right.
So once I opened up my mind to say, well, he may not be XYZ, but he is LMNOP kind of thing. And once I opened myself, I found a lot of really nice people that I could date. And finally I met my husband, who I was like, I'm not giving you a chance. And I was like,
and look at you now, you know,
bumps and stuff like that. There's two different people and we have our individual issues and, you know, karma and stuff like that. But it was great. So fast forward a little bit, he got a job in film and television in New York. And so I told him at the time, I was like, you need to go out there. But little did he know, I was like, I'm going to build a life with you out there. But I didn't, because that would have been scary. And he came out here, I followed him, and fast forward a little bit to 5 years later, now I guess it's 6 years. We are here in New York City. We are loving our life. We have a 1-year-old daughter. We got married 2 years ago, right? Yeah. The timeline's very close because I'm 43 right now, so.
You don't look it at all. You are gorgeous. You're so youthful.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't feel it, but I mean, definitely when you want to have a kid in your 40s, and a lot of women are faced with having to choose a career first and then think about family, and it's very scary, and the doctors try to tell you that you need to do all kinds of stuff, and even if you don't have a spouse. And I just believe that a dad is so important in a family that I didn't want to live without, you know, a spouse and a husband for my child. But so all of that, and then I guess the next big milestone in the story is when I quit my engineering job that was paying almost 6 figures in Manhattan.
Wow.
And the reason why I did that is I didn't plan it, which is, in hindsight, was probably a better thing to do than to like have a Jerry Maguire moment at work. To be like, you're taking the goldfish. But yeah, I was going home to see my father, who has Parkinson's and is not well. And you know, the rest of my family, and the chief engineer at the company I was working at basically yelled at me and told me that I always leave, I always do this to him, and you know, I never fill my deadlines, or just accusing me of stuff that was certainly not true. Is because I think he was very, very stressed at the time. But he got nasty with me, and I basically threw my notebook at him, my big notebook full of engineering equations and numbers. I was like, then you can do it. And I went on vacation, and I came home and I said, damn it, I can't go back to that job.
That's right. Good for you. So what was the turning point for you there?
So, I mean, I was just tired of other people determining my worth. Of like, I'm working so hard, so hard. I'm coming home and like puking at least once a month from the stress of the industry. I was working with some incompetent knuckleheaded fools, and like we were doing the best we could with the information we had with deadlines that were changing like on the minute. So I decided, you know what? If I'm going to do that, I might as well work for myself. So that day, I started the seeds of Melissa Del Toro International, which I just kind of gave my company a name because I didn't know what I was going to do. And and so today, I'm an online project manager. I have several amazing clients. Doing really super well, really consistent work, and I get to work from my home and work with amazing entrepreneurs like you. And I do it in a home studio. It's messy. It looks really clean, but can I show you my desk?
It looks great. I'd love to see your desk.
Okay.
Reality of life, right?
Show you my desk because this is probably like I organize people's life for a living, and this is what people's lives look like.
Oh yeah, there's toys, there's computer, there's paper.
There's a mirror for me to see how I look while I'm on the phone.
Yep.
There's my phone, and
I love it. There's a sweet little.
So that is basically my behind the scenes, my life.
Yeah.
I love it.
And it's real.
It's real.
It's raw.
Cool,
Yeah.
It's raw. It's good. It's everything that I didn't know that I always wanted.
Good for you.
I feel like I talked a lot, but that's the story. That's where I am right now. I created a coloring book that you sort of alluded to at the beginning, just to encourage little girls who were like me that really didn't know all the different things that were out there, and especially minority girls who are very underrepresented in almost every field in this country.
And to empower them at such a young age, you know, and to begin to speak into their lives before they enter into this world of like, oh my gosh, you know, the education where there's the male dominated areas like what you went through, you know, where you felt isolated, where you felt judged or underutilized in your industry, and then to be able to empower them, empower your daughter, empower my daughter, empower all of these young little girls. I think that is the most amazing mission that you could have done with your experience, you know, and I'm so thankful for that you're doing that in this world. We need more of you. Can you clone yourself, please? She laughed.
That's good.
Yeah, clone mommy.
Yeah, so
good for you.
That's a long and the short of it. I could go into any amount of detail, but I think that, you know, overall, that's kind of the highlights of my journey, which is not the same as anyone else who's listening to this. But I guess the long and short of it is just keep moving forward. Like, don't do anything stupid. Just because, and even stupid things are not, you learn from them, they're lessons. Right. But, I did a lot of stupid stuff, come to think of it. But
same here. We all do, but we learn from it. Yeah, most of us.
And like and if you don't learn from it, then like life or universe or God or whoever is your higher power, even whatever it is going to keep sending the same message to you over and over and louder until you answer, until it's excruciating, like you have to do something about it. Right. Because you have two ways that you could go, and even if you went the dark way, it doesn't matter because it's still going to hound you. So you might as well just take the high road and do something about it, because everybody benefits. Everybody's given permission. When you take a big step like that, everybody's given permission to step out of their own fear and take that step for themselves as well. I'm talking with my hands and I'm realizing that they're out of the field of view.
That's okay. I love that though. That's a beautiful nugget to take away from this conversation.
Yeah.
Is to embrace those moments, even the dark and the light moments that happen in your life and happen through your journey. Whether you are walking the journey of entrepreneurship, you're walking the journey of motherhood, whatever that is, to take the light and the dark, You know, it's
Yeah.
like the yin yang. There's a little bit of everything, you know, the good and bad and everything.
Yep. I mean, like, I'm going to say that being a mom is a hell of a lot harder than being an electrical engineer.
Yes. I don't even know what it's like to be an electrical engineer. And I'm like,
it's really, really hard.
that.
It's really hard. And being a mom is way harder.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So how can viewers get in contact with you? How can they follow you? How can they get your, you know, in touch, and one, in touch with you, and two, connect with you through the coloring book? I feel like a lot of people would be interested.
totally. So the coloring book is called Careers for Little Sisters. It's on Amazon.com. There's also a Spanish version called Profesiones para Nuestras Niñas.
Cool.
But there's a Spanish version of the same exact book if people are primarily Spanish speakers. So you can go for Careers for Little Sisters on Amazon. You will find the book there. My website, which is actually in the process of being revamped, but it's www.melissadeltoro with one R. So MELISSADELTORO.com. And also I'm Melissa Del Toro on Facebook. So if they want to connect with my business profile on Facebook, they can go there as well. And I guess the last piece of my email, if people want to email me, it's just melissa@melissadeltoro.com.
Beautiful. Melissa, thank you so much for sharing yourself, sharing your journey, sharing motherhood, life, entrepreneurship, all of that, and giving us so many amazing nuggets. I so appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you too, Mara. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.